What's going on, guys? FadeitLuie here, bring guys a brand new video. We're gonna be doing a mid taper on my boys, so stay tuned. We started off by debulking the back taper with our foreguard all the way open. We're also feeding the hair into the clipper with our comb. Now that we're done taking out most of the bulk, we're gonna switch over to our clipper over comb method. We're gonna use our clipper over comb to shape up the silhouette. Make sure not to cut in, because if you do, you'll create a gap. He's going for a curly flare look, so you want to make sure you leave some weight and bulk here. Now that we're done debulking and creating our silhouette, we can move on to our anesthesia outliners and create our first guideline. You want to make sure you contour this guideline to their neck shape. Now that we're done botting them out, we can move on to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. You want to make sure this guideline is around 1 inch thick, so you can make sure you spread the blend. We're then going to slightly close the lever midway and all the way close to attack that initial guideline. Don't forget to use your opposite hand to stretch the skin as much as possible so you can have enough space to blend. Now that we're done erasing our initial guideline, we can move on to our 2 guard all the way open and begin to debulk. With this guard, you want to flick out as much as possible. This is so we can get a cleaner canvas and see what we have to fade. Now we're beginning to fade down, and we're using our 1.5 guard to attack that initial guideline. Now that we're done softening up the line with the 1.5 guard, we can move on to our 1 guard all the way open and erase the line completely. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you. Now we're switching over to our half guard and we're attacking that bottom line. Moving on to the 3 guard all the way open, we're going to attack the top line and shape it as much as possible while flicking out. This is going to prepare us for our clipper over comb and also our 2 guard all the way open. Again, we're using the clipper over comb to make the blend as smooth as possible and shape up our silhouette. This area is very important, especially when creating that flare silhouette and that curly look. You want to make sure you debulk, but don't debulk too much, because then you will mess up the silhouette. We're just going to debulk enough where the hair lays down properly and it takes care of all the dark spots. We're detailing as much as possible and removing any dark spots. We're preparing to line him up. Now that we're done detailing, we can move on to our anesthesia outliners and make them as crispy as possible. Moving on to the side taper, we're going to separate the bottom half from the top. Now that we have a nice and even part, we can move on to our 1.5 guard all the way open, which is equivalent to a 2 guard closed, and debulk. Here we're debulking the beard with a 4 guard all the way open. Since the mustache area is always more dense than the beard area, we're definitely using a lower guard. We're going to use a 1 guard all the way open. Moving on to our NST outliners, I'm going to line him up and make sure our canvas is nice and neat before we do the taper. This is so I can see how much space we have since his hair is really curly and long. Moving on to the C cup, we're going to start off at the bottom of the beard and then work our way to the top arch. Using the corners of the NST outliners, making sure we don't press too hard. When you're lining up the C cup area, especially when the hair is a little bit longer, you want to make sure you go very slow and detailed as possible. This is so that the hair can feed into the trimmer. Moving on to the beard, we're going to keep it as natural as possible while also keeping it as crispy as possible. Now that we're done creating our outline, we can move on to the side taper and create our first guideline. Now that we're done creating our first guideline, we can move on to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. We're then going to slightly close the lever midway and all the way closed and attack that additional guideline. Don't forget to stretch the skin with your opposite hand to give you more room to blend. Especially when it's a taper, there is less space there, so you want to stretch the skin. Now we're moving on to our 1 guard all the way open, and this is going to create our third guideline. We're going to flick out as much as possible here so we can blend into the 1.5 guard easier. Here, instead of using my half guard, I'm using my no guard all the way open. Now that we're done with the taper, we're going back to our NST outliners and we're going to make sure the lineup in C cup is nice and crispy. Moving on to the beard, we're going to start off with our no guard all the way open and create our first guideline. We're then going to slightly close the lever and begin to attack that sideburn. Before we use the 1 guard all the way open, we're going to debulk with our 3 guard and 2 guard. Now we're ready for our 1 guard all the way open, and we're going to slightly close the lever, and this is going to help us blend into the 1 guard all the way open. Now I'm using my half guard to help me blend into the no guard all the way open. My client does like more of that faded beard look, so we're making sure we detail as much as possible. Once we put that razor on the beard, it's gonna be real nice and crispy. Make sure y'all hit up the Instagram. It's Luie TDL, LUIE TDL. When lining up the lip area, you want to make sure to be as soft and delicate as possible because you could bite them with the teeth of the trimmer. When you're lining up the bottom of the beard, you want to make sure you press and drag to make that line as sharp as possible. Alright guys, I'm going to show you guys the difference. This is the before. This is the after with no blade. Nice and natural. Now that we're done detailing, we can move on to the other side of the taper. Remember, you want to make sure not to press too hard here because you could bite them with the teeth of the trimmer. Moving on to our Turkish razor and Derby premium blades, we're going to make them as crispy as possible. But before we do that, we're going to apply some shave gel so the blade could glide better. Also, when you're using a razor, you want to use your opposite hand to stretch the skin as much as possible and keep your blade at a 45-degree angle. It's good to go against the grain on the cheek, especially if they could take it. If they can't, then don't do it. But if they can, go against the grain on the cheek. It makes it pop out a lot more. Again, I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Also, if you made it this far into the video, leave a comment down below of the subscriber count. I'm 100% going to reply to you guys' comments.